Hello. What is up, everyone?
Oh my gosh, we're on the internet. Welcome to our new segment.
Yay! My name is Shauna, pronouns she, they.
My name is Joe, pronouns she, they.
And we are mythicgeekdom. Reaching to you on a whole different day.
Without a whole different time for a whole different segment.
Hello.
Hello, Angels Fan 1977 on Twitch. So happy to see you.
It's nice to see you here, Geek. Thank you.
So you may have joined us on Monday for Shauna's art streams, where she draws a lot of cool fandom characters, and you can just chill, have a relaxing time, conversation.
Listen to some lo-fi.
Written by yours truly. Or you may have seen us on our Sunday evening game stream, where we've been playing through the classic JRPG Suikoden 2 with voice acting, a game that I am quite familiar with, that I have played many times, and Shauna is brand new to. But this...
I am not the video gamer, as they call it.
She is,
That's what
however...
they call it, right? A gamer.
Sure,
like a video gamer.
She is, however, a tabletop gamer, a tabletop role-playing gamer, and an amazing 5e dungeon master.
Hello, geeks. Hello, Neo Nash.
So excited for the new segment. Yes, thank you. So are we.
5445 on Twitch. We're excited too, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. This segment is called Roleplay. We are going to be talking tabletop RPGs.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about our experience with tabletop RPGs, and we're going to be sort of the help hub for you if you want to get to know different tabletop RPGs, how to get some narrative how to get some narrative storytelling in your game, as well as some fun role play, and make your table experience the most immersive and inclusive you can. Come back every week, because we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff every single week.
Different topics. What is the topic today, Shauna?
So today, it being our new segment and all, we're going to have a little bit of talk about our introductions and experiences with tabletop RPGs, as well as just kind of dipping a toe into role-playing. But first, the
meta stuff before the meta stuff
before the in-game stuff. We got to get to some announcements. You have the announcement card so far away from me right now.
I apologize. Look, announcement card.
I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you.
Speaking of meta stuff, look, we have to have our notes.
We have to have our notes.
Here's our character sheet. Tells us what to do.
Thank you. Yes. We have a Redbubble
Bartender
shop.
sends his best regards. Thank you, the master.
5445. Thanks, bartender.
Best regards right back.
We will be looking up some postings on the quest board later. Cool. So we have a Redbubble shop. If you didn't know, we do. We got all sorts of fun stuff. We've got ourselves some mugs. We've got ourselves some t-shirts. We've got some Lego stickers and stickums and stuff that you can use. We got ourselves some amazing pillows.
This one has our logo on it, but this one is so cool.
This one is the gelatinous cute. Gelatinous.
You have to bring it down a little bit.
Gelatinous cute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's got
cute
little
face.
things in it.
Yeah. Because it was so cute,
it just ate you.
Engulfed you.
Cute.
Yeah. Exactly. Check out our Redbubble shop. It is redbubble.com/people/mythicgeekdom.
And that is in the link tree, which is in our bio and in the description of this very video.
Agreed. There's some awesome stuff over there. Some roleplay-esque stuff, some TTRPG stuff, as well as
if you are a fan of a couple other famous live actual play TTRPG games on
There's
the
some
interwebs,
things over there too for you.
Maybe one that has a critical, another one that has a 20 in it,
Exactly.
There might be some
critical 20
fan art that we made in there, perhaps.
That was a lost. We could have called this Critical 20.
No, I don't.
No. Tell us about the next announcement, would you?
Oh, yeah. Well, you have it.
I will,
Okay.
Vanna. You talk.
So. Right now, what I have in this mug right here is ice cold water because it's hot and it's the evening.
Darn right.
However, in the morning, I like to fill this mythic mug with legitimately Geek Grind coffee. We adore Geek Grind coffee. We're not just saying it because we get financial support every time you guys go check it out, but also because we really do believe in this company. They are super cool. They make amazing coffee with geeky themes. Guys,
It's kind of awesome. They got your Wizard's Mist. They got your Siege Fuel.
they got your Dragon's Roast.
Dwarven Dawn.
They got your Elven Enlightenment.
They got your Frost Giant.
And they've got your Elders Fathom.
Elders Fathom.
Yeah.
Gross, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I
Don't
know,
make
right?
that. Check out Geek Grind Coffee. Our link is in the description. You can go right through our link.
And use the promo code
Bam.
STAYMYTHIC
All
in
one word.
the checkout.
All one word. Stay
Get
mythic.
yourself some mythic discounts.
Sweet.
Yeah.
As Joe said before, this is our new segment here on Thursdays. It's going to be from 5 to 6-ish on Thursdays, but we do, of course, have our video game
stream every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
This week we're going to be playing something a little different. It's not Suikoden 2, but come by because it's going to be, I'm going to try my skills at something new.
She's a video game noob, and we need to educate
leveling up.
her.
I'm leveling up, friends.
Yes.
And then of
You're
course,
like a level 4 now, I'd say.
oh, I don't.
Three, four?
I'm not even subclassing in video games.
No, you've subclassed in JRPG.
Okay.
But you're like, okay, so you're level 3.
Okay, level 3.
Okay.
And then obviously come by on Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time so that you can come hang with me as we do some digital art. You can draw with me, or you can just do whatever you need to hang out and give yourself an hour of time listening to some lo-fi, hanging out with your good friend right here, and, you know, just enjoying the mythicness of the Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Mondays can be mythic.
They can be, especially if you have good company. So there you are. All right, shall we get
I'm
down
ready.
to
I'm ready.
it?
You got questions?
I'm
Let's go.
so excited. Oh,
Wanna
friends,
know
first
what you
off,
got?
we're going to be talking about kind of ourselves and how we got into tabletop RPGs, as well as some other stuff. If you have questions, please be putting them in the comments section in the
Please,
chat.
yeah.
We want to hear from you. I want to be answering your questions as much as possible.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
did go and get myself and collect myself some amazing questions from other people over the course of this week. So we will start with those, and then we'll get to the ones in the chat.
Cool.
So, cool. First off, how long have you been playing TTRPGs, and do you have a preference in what tabletop system you're using?
You first or me first?
You first.
Okay. All right.
I'm so excited.
Probably like a decade ago, I think I played a smattering. It was, I think it was 3.5. It might have been 4.
No, it was 3.5.
It was the one where they got rid of bards, I think.
No. That's
no.
4. And that's why we...
Right. 4 had come out, but we went back and played 3.5 with our group because I wanted to play a bard. Gosh darn it, because I am a bard.
It's true.
Yeah.
Bard in real life.
Her name was Cora Fauchuckle, and she was a halfling. I remember that much.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
I remember
sweet.
that much. But I was such a noob. I did not understand what metagaming meant. I understood nothing. None of the mechanics, nothing about anything. I was floundering, trying really hard to learn things, and a lot of the people at my table were far more experienced than I were, and bless them, they did not have a heck of a lot of patience for such a noob. So it was a bit of a rough start for me. And I ended up kind of falling out of it. We played a little bit of Spelljammer.
You play some Spelljammer.
A little bit of that, but then I had a dry spell for several years where I didn't play any TTRPGs because my first experience was a little rough.
Yes.
And then 4-ish years ago, I would say, we started playing with our other friends.
5e.
No, that was still 3.5.
Oh no, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
3.5.
And it was a whole different experience, and it still wasn't as much RP as I wanted, because
Sure.
I'm such an RPer, you guys. It's disgusting. I
Not
wanted more.
disgusting RP, just the fact that she wants more RP.
Yeah. My obsession is disgusting.
Yes.
My obsession with the storytelling aspect is disgusting.
Correct.
I also love the strategy of the combat. So it was a bit better. It was a smaller group. It was a group that we were more intimate with. We had a lot of fun. And then we found a lot of the streaming shows. Because one of our friends in our game said, you need to watch this show, it's so good, and I'm like, I don't know about that. We finally watched it, and it took me a while.
It took a while. That should give you the idea of what kind of show it was.
And I fell head over heels, and I saw what RP could be at the table. I saw that I loved 5e so much, how it's this perfect blend of mechanics and storytelling, and they don't fight with each other, and the mechanics help drive the storytelling, but the mechanics are still there, because if you're without mechanics, it isn't really... there's no stakes. And
Sure.
so that was my experience.
We're going to get into that in a second.
Yeah. So I would say it's been about 2.5 years
Sure.
that we've been like playing.
Sure. For 5e.
Yeah. That's my experience.
So, roughly similar experience to Joe's. Within that 10 years ago, 3.5 game, I didn't struggle in the same ways Joe did with what was going on with the mechanics and whatever. I was actually struggling more with the hierarchy and the dynamic of the table. And there were some interesting things happening at the table that I didn't necessarily agree with, that I didn't find as fun. So we had that dry spell. Something you didn't mention was that in between all of this, there was tabletop games going on.
Oh, of course,
with
yeah.
us.
Like
and then we started
Settlers of Catan.
Yes.
Catan, choose your pronunciation.
But then we started playing things like Kids on Bikes and Weave.
Yeah.
And some of these other role-play games that are super...
TTRPG inspired stuff?
But they're super story collaborative heavy.
Yeah.
And way lenient on the rules and mechanics of the game.
The Doctor Who RPG.
Exactly. Yeah. So we were playing a lot of those. Then we hit into the 3.5 with our friends. Played some Spelljammer. Played some Pathfinder. That sort of thing. And then pushed into watching more streams, having more time with 5e and whatnot. Currently, where we sit, I have had much more experience gaming slash DMing
slash world creating
so much world creating than you have. But you recently stepped into the DM seat, GM seat.
The DM seat. I suppose it was.
It was a GM,
or
GM meaning game master, DM meaning dungeon master. So depending on what you're playing,
or bear master.
Yes, because Joe, for her birthday
last year,
ran a session of Honey Heist.
It was my first ever GM experience. It was a one-shot, and the mechanics were so simple.
Yes.
A D6 system, and I was terrified. I had like
Aww.
notes that were just yeah.
Well, we can get to that in a minute, but that's the kind of thing that it's like. Currently, we've set this day up perfectly. And I don't know if I did this on purpose
it's in
or
between
later.
Our two games.
It's in between our two main campaigns that we have weekly. We have two campaigns every week.
Both
and
of
then
which she is the
one shots
DM
and
of.
things, both of which I am the DM of. But one is on Wednesday and the other's on Friday. So to have this Saturday time to be able to talk and still feel the anticipation without the other.
This is Thursday.
This is Thursday, man. The Master 5445 says, any Call of Cthulhu by chance? Good question. Yes. We have played some Call of Cthulhu, Arkham Horror, and some of those type of like Lovecraftian kind of games
It
as
has been
well.
a long time for me.
It's been a long time.
By
Probably
no means
8
able to comment on it.
5 to 8 years for me.
It's something I would like to play. I want to play a Call of Cthulhu, and I really want to play a Curse of Strahd, but I need someone to DM it because I'm not ready.
I have thoughts.
You do? Oh my God, she has thoughts.
I also have thoughts.
Guys, when your DM has thoughts. I'm so hyped. I'm so
I also
scared.
have opinions about Call of Cthulhu, which we can get into in a bit. But there you go. That's kind of where we're sitting. One of the other questions that we had earlier was, why do you like DMing, and which do you prefer more, if any, being the DM or being a PC, a player character?
You first.
I like DMing because I'm literally the person that, if you're playing Monopoly, I have to be in charge of the bank. I have to...
Catan, too.
Catan as well. I have to be in charge of more than just my turn, because if I don't, my brain wanders, and it keeps me involved in what's going on within it. I'm such a good, like, manager of people and manager of things and manager of story that I just naturally am a DM in life.
She's a writer / director / stage manager for theater as well. So of course,
Dungeon Master. So yes, I prefer to be in the hot seat, as it were.
She does it so well.
Thank you,
guys, so well.
But I do like having moments of just being able to play and be a player. I think it's really interesting. And I don't get to do it often, forever DM.
But you do get a couple of opportunities.
I get a couple of opportunities, which I personally enjoy. I think they're great. And but if I have a preference, I prefer to be a DM.
Okay, I enjoy DMing, but honestly, I think I prefer to be a player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you like about DMing though, or GMing?
I love setting challenges. I love coming up with a story arc, a scenario, a dungeon or a village, a culture for my players to inhabit, and they can choose whatever they want to do with it. I love to build my little mini world, as it were. Not
builder.
Not the whole world, but just little part of it.
Little sections.
Cool. I think that's a lot of fun, building the history of that. I love setting up combat, and then they all go, what? And I'm like, yeah.
It's probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite thing as a DM is to just take in the reactions of your friends at the table,
of the challenges that they're about to face.
Yes, and or just when they figure out a new thing, when the shoe drops that this was the plot twist, or this was this thing all along, or whatever it is. The reactions is what keeps me going.
Or when the players come up with a really, really clever solution to a problem, a really clever way to solve the puzzle or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, holy cow, that's amazing. Roll with advantage to see if that works.
Darn right.
Because it's just good. I love it.
Agreed.
What about yours?
I already said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now let's get into some of the role play questions that we have from some people. If you have some more questions, put them in the chat, put them in the comments. Feel free to ask absolutely anything, even if it doesn't pertain to what we're talking about right now, because it can be something that you might
today,
inspire next week's thing. You never know. Cool. So, okay. So, first question that I had from a friend that kind of is a really great question to start on is, what is Roleplay's purpose at the table? What is the purpose of having roleplay within a game like this? Why do you need the RP in RPG?
To further the story. Because okay, so TTRPGs, every player comes to it with a different goal. Some people want to strategize and defeat the bad guy and min-max, level up your character and be the biggest, baddest, coolest person ever. Some people just want a good story. I find most players want a balance. I am definitely a player that wants a little bit of everything. I love to level up my character and see all that stuff going on, but the role play aspect is what hooks me.
Right.
I love to create a story collaboratively with my fellow players and my DM. I love to see the story unfold. I love to be challenged and have my character and the other characters be challenged by what comes up at them. Not just, can you roll high enough to defeat this thing, but what choices are you going to make? How is this going to affect your character emotionally, internally? I love that, and I think that is where RP shines. It lets the story sing, because the story is plot, but it's also character development.
Right. I think that in addition to that, I think that Roleplay's purpose is to create connection.
Yeah.
It's to create connection between two characters. Excuse me. Or several characters within the story, but it's also to create connection for the players around the table. The reason you have roleplay is so that when something within a combat, when something goes terrible, you care.
Yeah.
You care that the barbarian
down.
Yeah, the barbarian just fell unconscious.
It's not just because we need our tank back. It's because that's my friend and I care about that character because I know what they've been through, and they were vulnerable with me and I was vulnerable with them. We've made a connection.
Yeah. So obviously having a conflict for the characters to have is where the encounters lie. And it's not necessarily, fighting or whatnot. It could be puzzles or, espionage or a darn jam heist.
Jam heist.
Because, when in doubt, steal jam. But those moments, those encounters, are the conflict in the story. Whereas the connection and the foundation of the story should be, and for at least me, is in the role play.
Yeah.
It's in what the characters do, say, act, and how they are reacting to each other. Cool. So, how do you role play, and when is the best time to role play within a session?
Ooh. Okay, how do you role play is a really big question.
Really? There's a lot to that question. There's a lot of
Yeah.
steps.
Okay.
But
Listening
listening
to the other PCs, other player characters, and knowing what's important to them and seeing where it connects with you, your character, and finding a connection to bring out. Listening and knowing when it's a good time for you to interject and have a scene, and when it's a good time to sit back and listen and be like, this scene doesn't include me, it includes those two, and I should not interject right now because this is the theme of the scene they're making right now.
Yes. And that all hits in listening.
Yeah. Knowing this is a good time to end this scene. That was a nice final sentence to end it on. I'm going to sit back and let the DM take over for whatever's happening next. Yeah, it's more listening than anything else.
Right. It's in listening and reacting within character. That's really all role play in a nutshell is.
Knowing
there
your
are
character
ways to
and listening to react appropriately.
Yes, there are obvious steps and things that we can talk about how you can role play better.
And we're gonna delve
how
into
to
all
role
of
play.
those
We will
details.
definitely talk about those. But when is the time to role play within the session? Is there like a specific time or?
Man, okay, so travel time is a great time to RP.
Love it. 100%. I agree.
Watches are a great time to RP.
100%. I agree.
But also, like, those are your bigger scenes, you know, where you can really kind of take time to really get to know your characters and get to know each other. They can be vulnerable, they can be silly, whatever the case is. And then that way, when you're in the middle of a combat scenario or in the middle of some other encounter, something that your characters have to do as a party, you can throw little stinger one-liners at each other, little inside jokes that your party has created together. And that is also RP. It's just a tiny little throwaway. You're not having a whole dramatic RP scene in the middle of combat.
Yes.
No, you're going to slow combat down. But you're able to be like, you know.
Yeah, the chat.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're going to throw magic again? You don't have anything else up your sleeve? You know, smash the hammer down.
Right.
Roll the dice. You know, just different
the chat
stuff.
is saying one-liner quips in combat are premium roleplay.
Right?
I 100% agree. A lot of people think that you have to have this big, long, drawn-out scene to have a bunch of roleplay within your game. You really don't. I love having those moments. Case in point, last night. I love having those moments where it's like, okay, I'm, you know, the sorcerer is gonna cast slow on the creature. Say I'm playing the character. I'm going to cast. I was. I'm going to cast slow on this creature. This is what it does. Please make the wisdom save. You're doing all the mechanics of the game. As soon as the DM is like, okay, the slow takes over, you watch their movements get really lethargic. All you have to do for roleplay after that is just be like, hey, tank, you're up. That right there is roleplay. Just that line of being like, I'm lobbing something to you, next person. Here's your thing, and I'm saying it in a way my character would say it. And then, especially if it's the person right after you, because then the person right after you can go, yeah, I got it, and go in to do the thing.
Or, yeah, I got it, depending on who your tank is.
True.
Role plays a lot of like just lobbing the ball. It's like,
It
I'm
really
gonna have the ball
is.
for a
How
second, do
good are
something
you-
cool with it, and I'm gonna throw
How
it to
good are
you
you
so
at
you
a
can
set?
do something
Yep.
cool with the ball.
Yeah, how good are you are being able to set the ball and spike the ball.
No
It's
one
not
wants
all
to
about
be a
spiking.
ball hog.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't always have to be the person that throws it into the
100%.
net. You know, if the team gets the ball in the net, you've won. So you don't always have to be the player that does the cool thing. If you,
You
help
don't have
set
to
it
make
up
the
so
goal.
the other
If you set
player
it-
does
yep.
something cool, then you've done your job. You know, you'll get your
Role
cool
play.
moment.
Role
you know?
play. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. How would you encourage, as an experienced player or DM, how would you encourage role play at the table that doesn't overwhelm newbies?
Ooh.
This is a very hard question for Joanna and I because
We're theater people.
we are
we've
theater
studied
people and we go
improv,
in
and
like whole hog.
we do Ren Fair. We'll be in character for 8 hours of time.
Here's
we go
what
whole hog.
Here's what
Yeah.
I say. For the experienced player at the table, being that person to lob
the ball
and just set it up for them is great. Just have your character ask questions about their character, even if it seems dumb. It's the beginning of the day. You've had a long rest. My character's gonna walk over.
You live by the ocean?
Yeah, my family lives by the ocean. That's enough to like get them to start getting their character out a bit, or even just be like, I'm gonna walk over with a thing of bread for the day, like tack or whatever.
Ooh.
I know, sorry. Didn't say I was a cook. Hand you the tack and be like, what sort of food do you have at home? If this isn't what you like, because it's clear you don't like it.
It's kind of dry.
So what's your favorite food? Just being like that is
yeah.
like, it doesn't have to be like, tell me your life story.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me everything about your tragic backstory. I heard that your parents died.
Not right away.
I don't need to know that.
Give it time. Let it be revealed when it's relevant.
Yes.
Let the plot help. Like, if you're at a point of the plot where, oh my gosh, this has a connection. There's a little bit of a trigger for my character with their past. That's a good time to bring it out.
But I will
Sorry, we're off topic.
Yeah, but I will say that lobbing those up for newbies to take and understand,
But like
and
a gentle lob with
Yes.
support, not like
Yes.
a here you spike it. Ah!
yeah,
You know.
and then being able to read the room, watch the
Yes.
other person,
Listening.
and if you're seeing their face, they might go like deer in the headlights and just be like, my favorite food is soup, and not know what to do with that. Find a good way to end that scene a little bit and move on.
Baby steps,
Yeah, don't
Get them comfortable with the baby pool before you toss them in the deep end. They're gonna freak out.
Just give them little moments. That's again it doesn't have to be a big long scene. Just give it like a few little moments, and I would say maybe if you know their class, if your character knows their class and what they're good at, ask them for their advice on what they're good at. Hey, rogue, I just found a treasure chest. I need your help because
I'm
it's
not
locked.
good at sneaking. Would you do it for me, or would you teach me how to sneak? And then now you have a fun, cute little RP scene where the rogue is trying to teach the tank how to sneak, and their armor keeps creaking, and it's funny. And the rest of the
100%.
the party is laughing at them while they're eating their dinner at camp, and they're like, "You're never gonna sneak, bro." You know?
Yes, 100%.
Oh, hold on.
Yes,
I want to address another thing in that question. Another good way to help out newbie RPers,
Yes.
if you are a more experienced RPer, is talk with them out of game.
Yes.
We have this situation in our we have this rule, this meta rule, this policy. Sure. This expectation.
I don't know what you're getting at, so I can't help you.
In one of our parties where we will talk meta with each other outside of game if we think there may be a slightly heavy RP moment coming up in the next game or in a few minutes or whatever. We'll just text each other real quick because we're all playing remote right now, and as a lot of people are,
obviously.
And say, you know, hey, this is a moment that might be a little heavy for the character. Do you think you're comfortable playing this right now?
Are you in a good headspace right now?
Exactly. Are you in a good headspace right now to have a more heavy RP moment? And it doesn't always have to be a heavy RP moment. It could just be talking to your fellow player outside of the game. Quick little text, you know, hey, you want to do something cute right now? You want to do something funny? I was thinking we could do a thing where, you know, we try and do a headstand. Like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I could do this. And we're like, cool. You're comfortable with that? Awesome. Let's figure the rest out in RP in the game.
Yes,
you know?
100%. Cool. Interesting question that I got. And I kind of went back and forth with this person, asking them to kind of define what they were talking about. You'll see why in a second.
Okay.
How do you choose what role you will play at the table? And what they meant was not necessarily the character or the class you're gonna play. There's a whole bunch of tanks, so I'm gonna fit the role of
be
cleric,
the wizard or whatever.
Yeah. Not that kind of fit the table. Mm-hmm. Fitting the table, like I've noticed we have these chaotic, silly characters. I'm gonna play a more of a straight man, or I'm gonna be the stoic person, or or
how do you
like
help create a balance of character archetypes and moods
within your table.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a good table that works together will kind of feel it out as they go along. If you create your character ahead of time, obviously, you know the type of character they want to be. You've created their backstory, their race, their class, everything. But sometimes as you play, the characters and the situations in the game change you, and you change each other.
Yes.
A friend of mine at my table, we both created characters that were very similar in a way. I intended for this character to be super broody, hardly ever spoke to anyone, was like, whatever. And she was not intending for her character to be that. But her character ended up being that, and my character ended up being different. Like, should we do this instead? And so they ended up kind of filling in the different roles. And we didn't intend for that to be what it was, but just the way the story played out, we kind of fit into what the party needed to round it out. And when the table knows each other, you kind of feel that and go with it, you know?
Yeah. So how do you choose that? I think the first thing is just being able to recognize and be like, man, we have just a bunch of emo, angsty, broody characters in this game.
The story's never gonna get anywhere if everyone is that way, and no one ever wants to move the things forward.
Exactly.
You need a little bit of chaos so the party actually does something. Or the chaotic person's just gonna do it.
Just being that little bit of the releasing the pressure.
Yeah.
So that
but you need
it's
to have
not
other
always
characters
heavy
that are like,
time.
no, stop that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes it deals with your class, so you can play it off of class, but you really don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know of a character who's a cleric, who you would think clerics they're gonna be wonderful and wise and know mediators and all of this. Bumbling character is
adorable
a bumbling
cinnamon roll train wreck.
who it's like a big Labrador puppy.
Stumbling over their 2 feet all the time.
Whereas you would go, the tank or the barbarian or whatever is going to be the one to be rash and rush in and do all of that. No, I've seen clerics do it. I've seen warlocks do it. So it doesn't have to be off of your class.
Yeah.
It kind of just has to be off of the personality of the person, and sometimes maybe your character is a very, I'm gonna think it through. I'm gonna be 5 steps ahead in my brain, Sherlock Holmesian kind of character, but something that has happened within the game possibly has triggered them, and they're reacting in a way that they're like, I'm making a rash decision.
Yeah.
That, to me, and that fits, and you kind of get to see what's needed at the table. You can feel at the table when it's like, wow, that I don't feel like we were slogging through the game to get to wherever, or the point or the encounter or whatever it is. That actually felt exhilarating. That felt great. When you and I had this big moment where we were like standing off at each other, and we were like, oh, you want to hit me? Go ahead and try. And like posturing at each other. That was fantastic. That was exhilarating.
I could feel the energy was so good.
Maybe that's telling you something. That's telling you something about the dynamic of the characters and what role you're fitting at the table. Cool. You were talking about how it can change. Your character should, by the way, change over time. How do you reconcile the desire of your own predictions of what the story should be for your character and who they are versus what actually happens to them?
Two different things I'd like to bring up here. One is, in my opinion, TTRPGs are strategic, collaborative storytelling.
Yes.
So, of course, you want to know your strategy. You want to know your dice rolling and your numbers and your stats and everything. But it's also storytelling. So the more you understand stories, the more you read stories or watch stories, play stories, whatever. Remember your high school English class where it was like, this is a story arc, this is the beginning, this is the rising action, this is your climax, this is your falling action. And if we think of, I'll use 5e as an example, where the 20, if we're going from level 0 or level 1 to level 20, or unless you know that you're gonna have a smaller arc, you're gonna go from like level 1 to 8 or whatever, and so you want to beat your climax about here. So you just have an idea, my character's starting here at this place, and the story's starting kind of simple potatoes, but then the more and more we go up in levels, the story gets more complex, it gets more dangerous, more big in the world, not just your one little, the little tavern you met in.
GMs pay attention, but also players pay attention.
Yeah, because around here, if we're going to 20, around level 5, level 8, level 10, that's when we start revealing stuff about our backstory. We're just dropping little hints in the barrel at the beginning. So the rest of our players are going, wait, what? What's that thing about? Did they say that? Ooh. So their PC may not recognize that thing, but you as the player may be like, oh, I know that reference. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens, And that creates RP moments where it's like, I heard you mumbling that over there. What were you saying? I didn't realize you spoke Abyssal. Abyssal? This character speaks the language of the demons? And so it's just like, why? What? And you reveal little by little. And if your DM has some good stuff in there, maybe they'll throw in some dreams or some divine encounters with their god or this, that, or whatever.
If that's how the DM
type of
works.
Character is, if that's how the DM works, and just all these things. So if you have an idea of what a story arc is, you can know where you're reaching and about where you should be within that place. But also, not only is it storytelling, but it is collaborative storytelling.
Right.
So it's not just making it all about you and the thing that you want to do with your character, but knowing that every other player has the exact same arc that they want to make for themselves, and the DM has created this overarching story for the whole game as well. So you're all creating it together. Yeah. In my opinion, a good table is when you affect the choices that the other PCs make and the DM makes, but likewise whatever choices they make affect your choices. Right. So you're able to listen and weave and dodge and be like, oh, that changed my idea. I'm going in a different place now, and I didn't think I would.
How do you embrace that? How do you let go of, this is what I fully had planned for this character, and embrace the other stuff that other people are bringing to the story that is affecting, and should be affecting, your character?
It's about having a meta balance within your own brain of, because when you are a PC, you are a writer because you are co-writing this thing.
Yes.
You are also an actor because you're acting out your character, but you're also audience because you don't know what the other people are going to do at the table. And so if you're just thinking, I got to be actor, I got to be actor, I got to be actor the whole time, and you're not thinking about being a good writer and having a good story balance and a good story arc with all of the rest of the writers in the writer's room, then you're going to hog the whole thing and be the ham. But if you're not being a good audience member and only being an actor, you're thinking, I have to do this, I'm going to do this thing, and you're not thinking about the cool stuff that everyone else is doing and how it's affecting you.
Collaborative story.
Exactly. So if you also let yourself realize that 100%. You are an audience member at the table as well, you can go, oh, whoa, that was some cool stuff they did.
Agreed.
And then you go into writer mode. Wait, how does that change my character? How does that change what my character wants to do? How does that coincide with their backstory?
Right.
And how is that going to change everything?
And
let it.
Yeah. There's a thing that Joe and I like to talk about, which is the difference between character dissonance and story dissonance.
Oh my God, yes.
And we'll probably get into this like a ton because it's
Touch
a big,
on it, though. It's so
a
good.
big thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of things that you hear at the table are, well, that's not what my character would do. So you're having what's going on is you are having a character dissonance moment. What is going on in the story and what is going on with the character, they're clashing.
So let's say that the entire party is going into a mansion for a heist. They got to steal this jewel or whatever.
Sure.
And there's a whole balance of different types of people in this party. You've got, one of them is super chaotic. And
sure.
Something big happens. The alarm goes off, and the rest of the party decides we gotta go. We gotta bail. There's no way we can defeat this bad guy right now. We're gonna go to jail. We've got to bolt. And the chaotic character is like, no, I'm gonna stay, and I'm gonna steal this stuff, and I'm gonna make it worse, and I don't care because my character's chaotic. And the rest of the players are like, dude, you're effing it up for us. We as a party have decided that we're gonna leave, and now you're ruining the game, bro. But my character's chaotic. My character would stay. So that's the whole idea of character dissonance.
But if you look at it from the opposite point of view of the players, the other players going, we wanted to bail. And you can have those characters work things out. But if it's now you're so into the actor mode that you're not looking at the writer. You're not looking at the audience.
You're not being a good audience member.
You're not reading the rest of the group. You're not having that collaborative story. That's story dissonance. And where a lot of PCs, a lot of player characters, and a lot of players talk about is
I have to be true
character dissonance. And GMs and DMs are very much about story dissonance. You can be about both. Obviously, you can
it's
be
important
wary
to think
of
about both of them.
But you gotta find that balance between that character dissonance and the story dissonance.
So
if your
maybe...
character is super stoic and would never hang out with these people, I don't even know why I'm with this group. Find a reason.
Find a reason. Because if
why?
not, why
the
are
money,
you playing this character?
The money?
Why are you in this game?
They kidnapped your kid? What is the reason why they're staying?
Come up with some kind of motivation, or the GM will, and
there's
you won't
your
like it.
story dissonance. Yes, exactly. Your GM will give you a reason.
You know?
That's how that is.
I mean, so if we're going back to our heist example, and you don't want to have this character dissonance, but you also want to be a good team player, maybe you can have this, okay, all right, fine, I'll go. But then as you're going, the character sneaks one more little thing, so maybe it's going to come back and bite him in the butt a little bit in the future. Okay, fair is fair, but he did get out of there. He did leave.
Sure.
But, he got a little bit extra gold. Ha ha, screw you. That's a good way to kind of balance that character dissonance and the story dissonance.
Compromise.
Yeah. And that all comes with the meta balance of, am I being a good actor, a good writer, and a good audience all together? All of that is collaborative storytelling with emphasis on RP. We've got some questions and comments in the chat.
We have a few moments. Hello. The Atlantic Sailor, it's good to see you.
Hi.
We have this hour has gone by so quickly, fast.
Yeah, and we're not nailed down to 6 o'clock end time. It's ending 6-ish.
Yes.
So
we'll talk just a smidge more. Yeah. But we want to get to some of the questions that are in the chat.
For sure.
If you've got questions about what we've been talking about, and if anything is not making sense to you, or maybe it's giving you another question about something completely different, that's perfectly fine. Put it in the chat. We want to see it. We want to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
One of the questions within the chat from Deadly Nightshade 666 on Twitch. Thank you, Geek. Do you feel that since things had to go online for over a year, that it's changed the way the party interacts versus sharing that same table? How has remote tabletop RPG changed because... How has tabletop RPG changed because of remote storytelling right now?
A lot.
A ton.
And a lot of it is in listening and reading the room and waiting your turn taking.
Yes.
And I think you should delve into that more.
I think it totally has made a huge difference in turn taking.
We have a remote game with 8 people. Yeah, everyone's on a different screen. Yeah.
And it works out perfectly fine because everybody is taking their time. They're finding those moments, realizing I don't need to be in this scene.
This is not my
my scene. It's okay. I'll get it later. And being able to hopefully not talk over each other as much, because then you just can't hear anything. I think it's 100% been positive, beneficial for any kind of tabletop role-playing right now, that we've had this time, because you naturally have to be more patient.
Yes.
Other people are going to walk in. Other people are going to, hang on, I got to deal with my cat. Or things happen.
That's
or,
fine.
just the sense of you've got to wait your turn. You've got to be like, hey, I want to do something. And signal your GM. And it's helped me as a DM to read the room better, to see. You're always naturally drawn to those people that feed you energy. They're the people that are really good at giving you the reactions that you want. Or that kind of stuff. You naturally, when you're at the table, you start kind of speaking a little bit towards them, because they're giving you energy, so you want to give them more energy, so they give you more energy.
Positive feedback.
Yep. But when you're doing it remote, everybody has the same amount of space on the screen. You have to pay attention to everybody else. I pay attention more to the body language of my players and going, this person hasn't had something in a while. I'm going to have this NPC come in and be like, yo, need your help. Grab 3 people. We got to do this thing over here, whatever it is.
So that PC can have a cool moment because they haven't had one yet.
Exactly.
This episode.
Exactly.
This session.
However, recently we were able to share the same table in person with a few very small grouped vaccinated people.
We played with minis and maps and stuff.
It was so good. And it's so much, like I said, you feel the energy in the room. You feel that, like, the vibe of the whole area. Being able to just, like, I love the moments where you just stand up and you, like, almost everybody at the table is, like, standing and, like, looking at the map,
like, okay,
moving around to the other side, and, like, trying to figure out what's going on.
60 feet away from me.
I love that moment.
And that guy.
And I definitely have missed it over this past year. So there are some good and bad things to either one. Thank you for the question, Deadly Nightshade 666. It's
I find
awesome.
something else that helps.
Tangible maps and minis, man. I agree, and props. I am such
seriously.
a, like, I want to give my players props of stuff, and I can't do that remotely.
Yeah.
I can be like,
here's the file you can
here's
open.
a file. I'm gonna send it to all the players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text you a whisper. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But I really want to get up and, like, you grab the big beholder mini and place it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Such a good moment.
Yeah,
So fun.
It is. But also, if you're on Zoom or I'm going to say Zoom, whatever system you use, probably Zoom. Maybe
Zoom,
it's Roll20.
Discord,
Who knows?
Roll20.
Exactly. Who knows? Mute yourself if it's not your turn. That super helps. And so mute yourself and raise your hand. That's everything, man. That is everything. The other thing is reading the room and knowing it's not my turn and being willing to self-edit and be like, I just had a big scene. I'll know I'll have a big scene later. Is this really important for my character to insert themselves in? No. Do I want to go in because I just want to look cool and have this fun one-liner? Is my one-liner going to break the mood that they've set? Then wait.
Right.
They've set a mood. They're doing a thing.
Do a thing.
Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a meta joke. Don't bring that up. They've created a moment. When it's done, then you can come in with a little one-liner like, that was funny, reminded me of this.
Yeah.
You know, then you have a little meta moment at the table. Everyone laughs. It's
we always
great,
have a
and then we
debrief
get
at the
back
end
into
of
it.
our campaigns, our sessions, so that we can have those, like, meta jokes and try to keep that out of the session itself. Mute.
Yeah.
Mute is your friend. But like I said, being able to be in person gives you that vibe and that feedback that, like, keeps the pace going.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep the pace going when you're remote. Mm-hmm. I found that the best way to do that is when you're on mute, you're not in the scene. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are checked out.
You are audience now.
Be the audience.
You are audience and writer.
Because people can see your face. Well, hopefully, if you're playing with, like, where you can see everybody's face, people can, like, see your reaction to what's going on. Maybe these two characters had this conversation, you weren't there, but as an audience member, you're like, wait, what happened to you? What's going on right now?
Big backstory reveal. Oh my god.
And, like, just giving a little bit of, like, reaction to
when
them.
When they see your face, they're like, yeah,
like,
I've been looking forward to them hearing this part of my backstory reveal.
Exactly.
They're freaking chuffed about it.
Exactly.
You know, you're excited
They've
for people
been
to hear
waiting.
your backstory. Give them the same reaction.
100%.
You know?
And things like, within combat, if you're fighting something, the paladin's like, yeah, I'm gonna dump a divine smite into this. You just nodding, being on mute, but nodding and being like, is so. That is the vibe. That helps keep the vibe going. I started DMing a homebrew campaign last year, and it's been a whole nother beast. Between only online so far with 7 PCs. Woof.
Says Deadly Nightshade on Twitch. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds like one of our campaigns. Yeah.
The one we just did last night has 8 PCs in it.
8 PCs, 3
Sometimes-
rotating DMs, 1 head showrunner DM to oversee all of it.
In a pear
Yeah.
tree. It's a very unique experience, and I don't recommend it for everybody. 100%. I do not recommend it for everybody. I would not do this with every single campaign I have. It's far too much.
Another one of us has
dealing with
one
7
DM and 4 players, and that's
enough.
also chef's kiss,
perfect.
you know?
Online with 7 PCs, I
It's rough, it's
100% understand. And as a DM, naturally, you are just you are on and you're going 100% of the time. I'll say 98% of the time. There's some times where you get to they're
there's
having a role play moment.
scene,
I'm gonna be
sit
over
back and
here.
watch.
I'm gonna eat my Cheetos and whatever.
I can eat something.
Exactly. Have some water. Go on.
Oh yeah, if you're online, mute yourself when you're eating as much as possible, please.
Yes.
Yep.
But also something that we started doing online is it's like Joe said, it's not as easy to just lean over to your table member and be like, hey, I have this idea for a heavy RP moment. Are you okay?
Text
right
thread.
there.
Yeah.
Being able to check in with your other players, even out of session. GMs and other player characters, do it.
Sure.
We've started a thing where we figure out at the top of the night how everybody is. And it's basically, green light, you're good, everything's fine, we're doing great. Yellow light, some really heavy stuff is probably not going to be okay with me today. I've had a hard time. Red light, I need to stop
I gotta
the
check
scene.
out.
I am done right now. I absolutely cannot
engage.
keep going.
Yeah.
Is so helpful because that way you're not interjecting somebody else is having a scene and you're like, I just received news from family members, or I'm starting to feel like I'm going downhill sick wise or whatever in the middle of your session.
You change your color to yellow, and then people can be, hey, are you okay?
And then they notice and be like, I noticed you changed to yellow. Are you doing okay? Yeah, I'm feeling congested. I'm feeling tired.
Do we need to talk about it? Do we need to pause? Do we need to stop? Do we need to take a break?
No harm in that at all. But that way, it feels like you're checking in with people, but you're not stepping on toes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do that so we play over Zoom, and there's a little place where you can put your name. At the beginning, all of our names are our own names, but then when we're getting ready to play, we change all of our names to our character names, so we can address each other by our characters, and the DM can refer to us as our characters and not our players, because that breaks everything. The best way to get in character is refer to the other people as their character names. And then after that, we put our characters' pronouns.
Yep. Not our pronouns.
Our characters' pronouns. I am a mostly cis female, kind of fluid every now and again, she, they. But my character is he, they, or sometimes they, he. So we just put our characters in our PCs, parentheses, so name, parentheses, pronouns, and then after that we will put green, yellow, red. And if it's red, we stop. Red does not mean I'm having a hard time. Red means
I need this to stop right now.
What's going on? You okay?
Yeah.
Do you need to take a break? We stop the game if someone goes on to red.
Yes.
Never leave somebody on red. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yellow is,
100%.
watch them. Everything, you doing okay? All right. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just tired. May close my eyes a bit. Okay, all right.
Green is I'm doing bad. Yeah, if things are bad.
And that's how the player is doing, not how the character's doing. That'll come out in RP.
Yeah.
The green, yellow, red is if the player is struggling, because if all the players aren't having a good time, then the game's not going to be good.
Right.
You know?
100%. 100%. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Totally.
I think that's a good place to wrap up for today. Yeah.
Yes.
We have so much more to talk about next time and the next time.
So much more to talk about. Please make sure that you're coming by again. Sunday we are having our game stream. We're going to be playing some video games. Stop by. It is from 7 to 9 Pacific Standard Time. Monday we're going to be having our art stream at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, just chilling with us and, you know, getting some lo-fi vibes on as we like draw some things out.
Next
and then
Thursday back here to talk more TTRPG and role play.
And if you have any questions that you want answered from us about anything that deals with tabletop RPGs, let us know. Go ahead and write some comments on any of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those. Go ahead and give us a shout out and be like, hey, I have a question for you. It's this. We can leave it anonymous if you would like, but please let us help you, because you are helping us with all of the lovely bardic inspiration that you give us.
And we want to give it right back. Roll that D10.
Thank you for that inspiration. Great, I'm glad.
If you have questions, please go ahead and use the hashtag Roll+Play. That's ROLL, as in rolling the dice, plus play.
Thank you for the bits. Geek, that is awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, and we hope to see you back here on Thursday. And until then, stay mythic out there, geeks, and roll with advantage.